Hey guys, welcome back to part 5 of the Warmachine tutorial. We're now back at the end of round 2 with the Protector of Menoth about to go. Normally, Krios will get his 7 focus back, but he wants to go ahead and maintain Lamentation as well as Defender's Ward. So we're going to go ahead and take 2 focus points, sit them to the side, and then we're going to... Krios is going to allocate 1 focus point to the Revenger, another to the Repenter, and he's going to maintain the last 3 focus points. So let's go ahead and have Protector of Menoth go. The Revenger is going to go ahead and use his focus point to charge. Now what does it mean to charge? Charging you must do in a straight line. Following a charge, when you're charging a particular model, the Warjack or whatever is running towards the model must then face that opponent. So in this case, you couldn't have the Revenger go in a straight line directly to the Juggernaut. But what he can do, and when a model charges, you take your base movement and you add 3 to it. Once the charge has been made, the model then turns and faces the opponent, and the Revenger has a reach weapon. Normally, a model would have to be within this distance in order to strike another model, but with a reach weapon, they can strike a model up to 2 inches. So as you can see, he clearly has range. So let's go ahead and roll the strike. The Revenger has a mat score, which is the melee attack score of a 6. The Juggernaut has a defense of 10. So on 2 dice, I have to roll 4 or better in order to strike the Juggernaut. In this case, I roll a 6 and a 1, so that's a hit. It's the first weapon I use at the conclusion of a charge, so it's automatically boosted to 3 dice. In melee, you take the strength of the model, plus the power of the weapon. It's conveniently actually scored for you right here. This little axe indicates that it's a reach weapon. So you're going to take both of these pieces. It's a 13. We're going to roll 3 dice and try to beat the armor of the Juggernaut, which is 20. So on 3 dice, you're subtracting 7. 11's rolled, so there's 4 points of damage, and that damage will be allocated to the 6th row. Going to the Juggernaut's damage table, there's 4 points of damage to the 6th row, and because the Revenger is more than half an inch away, he can't strike with his secondary melee weapon, his shield. The next Menoth activation will be Krios himself, who moves forward, and Krios... All Warcasters have a feat. This is not a spell, this is not a melee attack, this is not a range attack, it's just a feat. You'll find your Warcaster's feat typically on the back of the card that has the spells. For Krios' feat, enemy models currently in Krios' control area are knocked down. So we go ahead and measure 14 inches out from Krios, and all enemy models are knocked down. In this case, the 2 jacks are knocked down, Sorcerer's just out of range. We'll go ahead and use our knockdown tokens. Don't turn a model to the side because it can impact the front arc. And we'll get into front arcs in a little bit, but the front 180 degrees of models, typically the front arc. Now what happens when these models are knocked down? In melee, it's an automatic hit. For ranged and for spells, their defense is a 5. So now that Krios has popped his feet, he's going to go ahead and utilize his arc node. If Krios was actually behind the terrain and had no line of sight to the Warjack, that is his arc node, doesn't matter as long as the Warjack is within his control, and his control area being 14 inches, he clearly is still within Krios' control. But Krios is here, and the spell he's going to cast is Cleansing Fire, which you can see is a power 14 blast, and it's an area of effect 3 inches. So let's go ahead and roll it up. Now the heavy Warjack has been knocked down, so Krios has to roll to hit, but The target number is a 5. His focus is a 7. So as long as he doesn't roll 2 1s, he hits his target on. And in this case, that's a very good thing since he ended up rolling a 2 and a 1. So we're going to go ahead and put the template directly over the model. And remember, guys, that 1 is away from the direction in which it's being fired. Since Krios is using this arc node, 1 would be pointed in that direction. The 3-inch area blast only impacts the heavy warjack. Should ranged weapon or spells actually deviate, the strength of the spell or ranged weapon is halved. But since, again, this one hits directly on, it's strength 14. Let's go ahead and roll it up now and see what kind of damage we do. 11 points of damage. That'll be added to the 14 and subtracted from 20, so it'll end up being 5 points of damage. And it's going to be applied to the 2 slot. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 2 slot. We're going to go ahead and mark off 5 boxes here. So we've marked off 5 boxes from the Juggernaut's damage chart in the 2 column. And now, having moved Krios as close as we have, this might have been a bad play. But the Protectorate's turn is not over yet, so let's continue with the next activation. The next model that's going to activate is going to be the Repenter. He's going to go ahead and move up. And now the Repenter is going to use his Flamethrower. So we're now going to have the opportunity to utilize the spray template for the first time. It is a spray 8. He targets the Juggernaut, and it's clearly within range of the 8 inches. He's going to roll to hit. Now, the Repenter's rat score is a 5, so again, all he has to do is not roll double 1s. He rolls a 6 and a 3. So he hits the model. Remember, the spray does not guarantee that you hit. All it does is determine what models do get hit when a spray weapon is used. He's going to use his focus point to boost the damage. And he rolls 15. That gets added to his flamethrower power, which is 12. Which means that the Juggernaut will now suffer 7 points of damage. And the damage will be applied to the second column. So we have 7 points of damage. And again, if we're starting on the 2 column, we notice that there's only 1 box there. But those extra 6 points are not gone to waste. You mark the first one. You mark the remaining boxes in the column that you did the damage to. And then you take the remainder and continue with the next column, marking off 6 boxes. If there had been more than 6 boxes remaining, we would have then continued then on to column number 4. You can see now that all the M squares have been marked over, so movement has been disabled. Now the Juggernaut cannot charge or run. The Repenter's Flamethrower has this first symbol, which is continuous fire, which will mean that at the start of Khador's turn, the Juggernaut will have to roll a die 6. On a 1 or a 2, the continuous fire effect is negated. On a 3 through 6, he will take a power 12 hit, and will continue to do so for the rest of the game until he rolls a 1 or a 2. The effect only happens once per turn, and the first turn that the Juggernaut rolls a 1 or a 2, the continuous fire effect is negated. The last model to move is the Crusader, and he will simply move up his 4 inches.